Hello, this is Mara Jane, and you're listening to The Unseen Perspective. Hello, and welcome back to The Unseen Perspective. I am your visually impaired host, Mara Jane, and here with me today I have a returning guest who I know you guys all know and love, Brooke Petro.
Hi.
So today we are going to talk about how visually impaired people and how we specifically watch television. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, I have a level of vision that is pretty weird in terms of like what sighted and blind people think of as blindness. So it's like in the middle, so I can see kind of out of my left eye, not at all out of my right eye. So I don't typically use audio description, which is a feature that allows you to hear what is going on the screen from someone describing it. But I don't usually use this feature because if I'm sitting close to the TV, which I have to sit very close to the TV or like iPad or whatever I'm watching on in order to see what's going on, but I usually can see enough to where it doesn't bother me. I like to watch shows on my iPad, but I do not like to watch things on my phone because it is way too small, and I also like watching things on the TV. But I know Brooke uses audio description, so Brooke, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I actually love watching stuff on my phone because I don't look at the screen at all, so it's like less power wasted. I love it. I don't actually know how to use my TV anymore because I never watch it on my own. But so for audio description, the way it works is the movie's regular audio is playing, and then in between, like, dialogue or when characters are talking, because obviously that's something I need to listen to. Between them talking, there's a narrator that will give, like, kind of like stage directions about what's happening on screen. So I can see, like, if there's a silent scene with maybe just music, no talking, where a character is, like, discovering something that's important to the plot, instead of me having to ask someone, like, what's going on, like, why is this important, why is the music getting all dramatic all of a sudden, the voiceover, like, narration will say, oh, like, the person discovered blah blah blah, and so I'll know what's happening and I won't lose the plot, which is really helpful. Like, I watched with my family a couple nights ago the Conclave movie, and so that is a lot of people talking, but then there's also some scenes that are like it's like an Oscar movie, so it's like fancy, and so those descriptions are really helpful. And a lot of the time I use audio description more for stuff that's more complex like that. If I'm just watching like a game show or something, sometimes they'll have audio description, but like it's not really necessary, or like a sitcom, it's not really necessary. But for something that's like that Conclave movie, or I'm a fan of Star Wars and they're like battles and stuff and the audio description is really helpful.
Yeah, we are both very big fans of Star Wars. But yeah, my dad has been obsessed with like classic Family Feud. He found like a channel that's like old Family Feud episodes, and so we watch that a lot in the evenings, and I don't have to like sit up close to the TV for that. I can just listen. But yeah, I think there's an audio description section on Xfinity now, which is what I use. That's our TV provider, our internet provider. So I think I don't have much experience with using that, but I think you can just go on there and then they'll have, I think it's live TV, but I'm not sure, with audio description, which is like really cool. So it kind of just gives you insight into what you're missing visually, very similar to how deaf people use subtitles. But I do want to make it clear that blind people do not use subtitles, because I had a substitute in 7th grade English, and we were watching The Outsiders, and everyone had left the room for something, and she was like, would it be helpful if I turned on the subtitles? And I was like, no. Like, I don't know what was going through her brain, but that is like a weird common misconception about blindness. Like, people get blindness and deafness mixed up all the time. I don't know if it's because of, like, Helen Keller or what.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Who does exist, or did exist.
Yeah.
She's dead now.
R.I.P.
Okay, people are so strange. The people that are like, oh, she didn't exist.
We should do an episode on that.
We should! Oh my gosh.
Can we do that?
Yes.
I'd explain to my cousin that she was real. I want to do an episode on that. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So, yeah. Never underestimate somebody with disabilities.
Yeah, we don't use subtitles though if we can hear and not see.
Yeah. That is actually frustrating because we like to watch shows that are in other languages sometimes. So, we have to rely on them having dubbed show versions instead of just being able to read the subtitles, because we cannot read the subtitles. And, like, I probably could, but I'd have to, like, pause it every 2 seconds and, like, zoom in, and, like, why would I want to do that, you know?
Yeah, like, for my Spanish class, we had to watch a movie in Spanish, and my friend could turn on the English subtitles, but I couldn't, so I was going purely off actually knowing Spanish, which, like, I feel like I did pretty good, but I did miss a couple things, for sure.
It's good practice, I guess.
It is good practice. I'm glad I had to do it, but I'm like, really, you can cheat?
Right,
like, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I had a thought. The way I usually use audio description, I don't have Xfinity, so I don't know how that works, but my family is, like, obsessed with streaming services. Like, we have, like, all of them. And on most streaming services, to get audio description, you go into a movie or show and you start playing it already, and then you can pause, and there's, like, an audio and subtitles menu. I know on Netflix that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. And then you can go through, it's in the audio tracks section, so if you wanted to try it or if you wanted to use it, you would go into the audio sections and it would be labeled English audio description, and that's what I would use, except if it was in another language, it would be like Español audio descripción, something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it depends. There is audio description in Spanish sometimes. Like on Netflix, they really only do audio description for shows in the native language of that show or movie. So, like, the English shows I'm watching only have audio description in English, but then when I had to watch that movie in Spanish, it was a Mexican movie, so they only had audio description in Spanish.
Oh,
and
funny.
It was really interesting when I watched that. I was like, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
Because I would watch, like, for practice, I'd watch English shows in Spanish, but they had no audio description. Mm-hmm. Disney is better about this, though. They have some shows in Spanish, the dubbed English language shows. When they're dubbed in Spanish, they do sometimes have audio description, which I really like. But yeah, that's kind of like most streaming services have that once you start watching a show, but sometimes it can be spotty to get the audio description. Like, sometimes they haven't made it, especially on older movies, they're a lot less likely to have it because that wasn't a standard practice like it is now.
Yeah, I've had that issue with, like, trying to watch K-dramas, is, like, yes, sometimes they have the English dub, sometimes they don't, sometimes they have the audio description, but it's always in Korean, and I'm like, I don't know this language.
Dang, you're gonna have to start learning Korean.
Yeah, just to watch the shows. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've noticed on Netflix and Disney Plus especially, they're usually pretty good about having the audio description and also, like, having the subtitles for if you need that. My mom likes to use both, which I don't really understand, but, you know, to each their own, I guess.
My dad actually likes both because I watch a lot of shows with him, and so he'll have the audio description on for me, and then he's, like, going deaf a little bit, so he'll have the subtitles for him, and it's perfect. It's the ultimate disability experience.
Yeah, exactly.
One other thing about audio description, I actually don't personally use this because my family, for some reason, gets all the streaming services, so I haven't had this problem, but a lot of the time some people can't get audio description on movies. Like, if you're gonna rent a movie, it probably doesn't have audio description. If you don't pay for all the streaming services, you're not going to be able to get that version. So I've heard from some of my friends, this isn't something I've used personally, just a caveat, but there's this thing called the Audio Vault, and it's like, I believe it's a website or something. Yeah, I think it's a website, and you can stream for free, I'm pretty sure, all sorts of audio described movies and shows, but it's only for audio description, and it's really nice. And I don't know how to get access to it because I've never needed to, but I know it's a big deal with a lot of with some blind people and a lot of people that need audio description that are on, like, the more close to totally blind side of the spectrum. They also have a Discord where you can see when stuff is added to the Audio Vault, so that's pretty cool.
That is cool. What about like audio description at the movie theater?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So a lot of the times at a movie theater, the workers aren't going to offer to you most of the time unless you ask. I've been offered it once, which was really impressive. But a lot of movie theaters have audio description headphones. So, like, you can ask someone working at the movie theater, like, hey, I'm going to go see this movie. Do you have audio description for it? And they'll give you this, like, set of headphones with this little controller that's, like, up down volume for, like, the audio track and the movie. And then you can go in the movie theater and it's like synced up to the movie with the actual movie playing, and you'll get to hear the audio described version of the movie in your headphones, which is really cool. And I've been using that more. I didn't used to use it when I went to the movie theater, but now I've kind of like come around to wearing the big chunky headphones because it is helpful and I don't have to like whisper like what's happening like to whoever's sitting next to me.
I do want to try that because it's harder with the movie theater because the screen is so big and it's like hard to sit close, so it's like no matter where you sit as a visually impaired person, you're going to be missing something.
Yeah, because if you sit close enough to see things, the screen is so big you'll miss half the screen.
Right, exactly. And you have to like crane your neck.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other issue. But I do want to try that, but it's cool because I always wondered like how they did audio description, because you can't like obviously do that for the whole, like you can't just turn on audio description, like people are going to get annoyed. So yeah, that is a cool thing, and I would love to see how that works for myself. But one thing I just thought about, which is kind of relevant, is so we were talking about subtitles and how we can't use them and don't use them, but people think we do for some reason. But when we do need the use of subtitles, like for movies in a different language, or if we have trouble hearing as well as seeing, I had this cool idea of like how we could do that. So since we can't see the subtitles on the screen, or can't see them that well at least, I was thinking there could be some sort of refreshable Braille display that you would attach to whatever you're watching TV on, and then it would have the subtitles like on there. So I was thinking like we have Braille displays for like working on a computer, or just like the Braille display, because I have my Braille note, which is just like a standalone thing. But the displays are like refreshable, so obviously you're not going to have an entire book on those 32 cells. So you click like the buttons on the front of it to, and I have an episode on that if y'all want to go back and listen to it, but you click the buttons in the front, the thumb keys, to go from line to line. So I'm thinking if there's like something, if you could somehow hook up a Braille display to like a TV or like your iPad or something and read, it would like automatically pop up with the subtitles on it. I think that would be really cool.
That would be so cool. I did kind of jerry-rig that for myself. I just remembered, that reminded me. In English class, we were reading King Lear, and we were learning about adaptations, and there's this famous adaptation in Japan. I cannot remember what it's called right now. It's by, like, I think the director was Akira Kurosawa, and our teacher was saying he was, like, a really famous director, and he did an adaptation of King Lear, but set in, like, Japan with like the feudal lords and stuff, and obviously it was in Japanese and I couldn't read the subtitles, and it's kind of like an older movie, so I don't know if they had a dub, and if they did, my teacher didn't have access to it, and so I found an English transcript and would go based on the cues in the environment, like if there was like there would be in the, I'm trying to think how to explain this, in the translated English script there would be some like stage directions for like the scene dressing, so it would be like they're riding on horses across this field. If I could hear the horses clomping, I was like, okay, I know I'm at this part, and so I could kind of follow along with the different voices of the characters and read the translated lines that way. Oh, I don't remember what it was called. I'll have to, no, it's Ron, I think, R-A-N, but it was like really interesting to kind of rig up my own subtitles.
That's crafty. I feel like, I mean, yeah, that is a really creative solution, but I feel like that's a lot of work to like do that with everything you watch, and I think it would be cool if there was like a set product that would like automatically pop up with the subtitles, so you wouldn't have to do that work.
For sure.
But that is a really creative thing. I never thought about doing that.
Thank you. Well, that wouldn't work for like a deaf-blind person because they
yeah.
couldn't get those set cues to help them stay on pace.
Right.
So yeah, I really think a subtitle Braille display would be great.
Yeah. I don't know how that would work though, like for TVs especially. Like I feel like you could do it on like a tablet or something.
Mm-hmm.
But for TVs, I don't know how you would hook up a Braille display to a TV, but I'm just the idea person. I'm not an engineer, so
Yeah, you should talk to a tech person about that.
talk to somebody, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I want access to subtitles because I love my K-dramas and all that. But I mean, watching TV is definitely a very different experience for a visually impaired person. I know a lot of people kind of, like, especially sighted people, get kind of weird about even saying, like, watching TV or, like, did you see this movie?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, did you, listen to this new show? I'm like,
It's
bro.
like weird. Well, and the thing is, like, they're also listening to it. Like,
Right.
they're not just it's not a silent movie.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's funny. It's like it's not that big a deal. Like
Yeah.
when you say "see," you don't mean did you literally look upon this movie. They're saying
Right.
They say like, did you watch it? Did you listen to it? Did you think about it? Did
Yeah.
you like? I don't know.
It is like an overarching universal term.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're not gonna get offended because you said, did we see this new movie? We're not gonna be like, no, I can't see.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody might.
I don't know.
That's their problem.
I've never met someone that has been bothered by like, did you see this movie?
Yeah. I mean, that would just be odd if someone was bothered by that. But just to reassure all the sighted people out there, like, that's not something that we care about at all. And I think, like I was talking about, it is a unique experience, but we both love to watch TV, so we're going to find ways to, make it accessible, but it is also helpful to have that help from the outside, like the inventors of audio description and the people who, sit there for an entire movie and describe it for us.
I think they do it on a script.
Yeah.
Like they have to write out a whole script describing everything because they have to
Yeah.
get the timing exactly right with every pause.
Right.
And you can tell because sometimes they'll be like speeding through what their
Yeah,
description
like
to get it
they'll say it
between.
really fast, yeah. Which that's
It's really impressive.
It's impressive, and it's so cool, and the fact that we have access to that and there are people that are willing to do that. Like I was talking on an earlier episode about how much I appreciate audiobook readers, people that just like read books and record it so that we can experience those books. Like that's a lot of work, and that's like so valuable, and I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, we appreciate the voice talents
Yes.
and the script writers.
Yes. Oh, it's so wonderful that we have access to those resources. But obviously we're always going to be trying to find new ways, both for ourselves and for our friends and other blind people, to do things more accessibly. Not because we're not satisfied with what we have, but because, it could always be improved upon. And that's the case with, like, TV, but also, all kinds of things, like schoolwork and navigating around a place. So, I think it's important to always be thinking of new ways to make the world a more accessible place. But yeah, we both love watching TV, so.
Yes.
Especially Star Wars.
Yeah, we are big Star Wars fans for sure.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have to talk about, unless, Brooke, there's something else you wanted to mention?
I think that's it.
Okay. So, if you have any questions for us or any feedback, you can email us at theunseenperspective2024@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram at theunseenperspective2024. We would also appreciate if you followed us. We are available on YouTube and Spotify. Just search The Unseen Perspective. It should come up. If not, on YouTube, our handle is The Unseen Perspective 2024. And there are plenty of links on social media, on Instagram, to the podcast if you just want to go through there. But we would appreciate if you would tune in, follow us, and we very much appreciate you tuning in today and listening to the end of the episode. We hope you had fun. We had fun. And we'll hope you'll tune in next time. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful day, morning, evening, night, whenever you're listening to this. And bye-bye.